I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero.
Hey, what's up guys? Scott Speed here at the iRacing headquarters. Some exciting news about the upcoming Rallycross World Championship. They've got a wild card entry, and yours truly is gonna get that spot. See you guys out on the track.
What a tremendous first round it was just a week ago at Daytona, but now the world's best eSport Rallycross drivers are prepared, locked and loaded, ready to battle hard once again as we welcome you to Lucas Oil Raceway, just 10 miles west of downtown Indianapolis in the USA, which hosts the second round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. All coverage today is on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live around the 1.26.783 anti-clockwise layout of Lucas Oil Raceway with 5 tight body-hugging corners. The beginning and end to the lap here is tarmac with the middle sector entirely dirt, containing a jump section as usual. The tarmac section, it uses most of the oval's 12-degree banking. It's relatively straightforward and a full throttle section of the racetrack. We'll see lap times ranging in that 40 to 41 second range as well. Partly cloudy skies out there for the drivers here today for the second round. We're looking forward to it for sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth alongside Randolph Cheneth, Cam Walsh on social media as usual, and of course Hugo Luis in production. Randy, championship standings up there on screen. Let's talk first about Mitchell de Jong, who had a perfect round at Daytona for round number 1. 84 points, the most you can claim in a single round here in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
Well, it certainly wasn't a surprise last week, but the perfect run has already ended for Mitchell. He's only currently qualified P3 at best, and he is done with his available laps. So Mitchell, he will be able to start on the pole of his own heat race in heat race number 3, but he's not going to have the perfect night of racing the way he did a week ago.
Yeah, exactly. So the drivers are currently in qualifying, and there is Joni Heikkinen, who was Mitchell de Jong's closest challenger, finished within 2 seconds of the American in that feature race. And Joni Heikkinen was a driver who, Randy, I thought was the most impressive and de Jong's nearest competitor. Like we said, he wasn't Finnish sim racing champion last year for no reason.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Joni was really, really strong last week. It's really interesting to see Mitchell struggling the way he is. Not sure if it may be the Subaru that he's in or what the deal is. A couple drivers have made the swap over to the Subaru because apparently you do get free reign of car choice in this series. But I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how Mitchell bounces back from this. It's not often you see Mitchell 3/10 off pole.
Yeah, exactly. But good to see Scott Speed out there in P5. He will make his debut in this series. A driver who's a 3-time champion in the real world, Randy. He's got his work cut out for him today, though, starting from P5 and qualifying.
He does. His pace seems very, very good, though, for him, considering the rest of the field's just hecking in hard through in those mid-40s, and then you get Mitchell, Zelensky, Scott Speed, Cedric Gesmier, all within about 400s of one another. So it's going to be a very, very competitive field today. Phil Diaz is not far off the back of those guys. Graham Quinn, Stilian Chipolevsky, that's another driver I think he's qualified a little bit worse than I think we would have expected. Currently about 10th on the grid. You also have Connor Parisi and Jorn Jens, one of the VRS Coana drivers, also turning up, Mitchell's teammate. And I think interestingly enough, he's turned up in a Ford Fiesta. So the two teammates, they've gone for different cars, which is a really odd choice. You'd think you'd want to work together and try to share some information. Doesn't seem to be the way it is.
Exactly. So we're going to have 3 heats this time round, different to what we had for round number 1. Let's have a look at the grid for heat 1. It will be Joni Heikkinen starting on the front row alongside Bobby Zelensky and Phil Diaz. Great qualifying performance from Phil Diaz. Connor Parisi had a little bit of drama in round number 1, and he will start from 4th. He'll be alongside Georgi Zadzon in the 5th position. Rounding out this Heat 1 grid will be Bob King and Pierre-Anton Delaire. Joni Heikkinen will be the one who is the favorite for this heat, Randy. But what about Bobby Zelensky? Taken out in the feature, he's one you'd be tipping to hopefully get victory here.
He could definitely have a good run. Also watch Phil Diaz starting on the outside of that front row is good here at IRP.
That outside line will be ever tough. The drivers rev, ready to go here for round 2. And we go green from Lucas Oil Raceway. Oh, what a poor start from Bobby Zelensky. He's hounded by the pack behind. Joni Heikkinen as well, a poor start, but he has that inside line. They'll head to the start-finish line for the first time. Turned around is Phil Diaz. Joni Heikkinen involved. Joni Heikkinen's turned around as well. He's collected into the barriers. Oh, goodness me. What a dramatic start there. Heikkinen, one of the favorites out of the event. Diaz collided with him.
Bobby Zelensky's around us too. Bobby Zelensky in the infield sector. He ends up facing the wrong way, and he goes from running in first in an easy transfer spot back to 5th. So now we've seen 3 of our leaders taken out. I believe it's going to be the one of Connor Parisi from Fusion Rate. No, I take that back. It's not going to be Connor.
King.
Bob King currently leads.
Exactly. Bob King in the lead. Parisi needed this. He's in the Subaru there in that Fusion racing car. And there are the 3 leaders on the right-hand side of the screen. They're still in the dirt section. This top 4, though, of King, Parisi, Zadzon, and Pierre-Anton Delaire. They take to the Joker, the top 2 of Bob King and Connor Parisi. Only about a 1 to 2 second loss in terms of that Joker Delta time. Bob King, though, he's gone very wide through this section. You'd have to say Connor Parisi looks quick now. He just has to get past Bob King for that lead.
Certainly does, and he's very tightly packed to the rear of that Volkswagen Beetle through this long right-hander on the dirt, getting ready to maybe flip that e-brake a little bit and tightly get that apex. Oh, and Connor gets down to the inside. A little bit of shoving here as they head through NASCAR 3 and 4. Still a little bit to touch it. Now, the variable banking here at IRP offers a very interesting challenge for these guys heading through that corner, but Parisi showing that he's going to get physical early. Let's see if anyone in the back got a Joker. Georgi Zadzon is, but not close enough to pick up a spot, and that's one of the big talking points about this track is that Joker. It's only about a half-second delta, Johnny, in terms of a shortcut. So really the best time to use it, if you can get it done, is on lap 1.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the drivers couldn't do it just due to the incident, so they had to take that on the next lap, of course, as well. But Bob King's still in the lead. He is struggling, though, carrying a bit too much speed into a lot of corners. We must also remind you all, only the top 2 from this race advance to the feature. The rest of them will head to the C main or the B main. Here they go across the line one more time. This will be lap 4 of 5, heading to the Jokers, Pierre-Anton Delaire. It's such a difficult entry, isn't it, Randy, into that Joker lap?
Well, and for us, it's a really difficult name to pronounce. But yeah, the Joker, it's like threading a needle. The drivers in real life when the series came here didn't like it. And I know a lot of the sim drivers don't really like it here as well. It's just, it's such a, you kind of have to YOLO the entry into the Joker to get it right. And then the way it funnels down into the regular circuit, a lot of people have been very, very critical of that. Mitchell, of course, had some issues there in the real world. Had a run-in with Patrick Sandell that ended his race early. Wasn't able to make the feature when they raced here in real life. But regardless, it's a very technical circuit, and it puts on some great action here just through the first 4 or 5 laps of heat race number 1.
Yep, so final time that Bob King will head well, for the heat race at least, through this jump section here. Relatively straightforward jump here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Not as difficult an entry as we saw at Daytona, but it looks like Bob King and Connor Parisi, this is exactly what Connor Parisi needs. Bonus points for himself to head to the feature. He did not make the feature last round at Daytona. He finished 6th in Heat 1. A 7th in the heat, excuse me. This time round, though, he'll head there, and that's all that matters this time round. Bob King takes victory for Heat 1. Parisi is through to the feature round with him. Zadzon and crew will head to the Consolation races. There you can see on screen, most notably, Zelensky, Diaz, Yanni Heikkinen, no, Randy. Not only did he collide, but he finished last in that heat. Here we head to Heat 2 here.
Yeah, and not only that, to have Bob King, I think Bob King is a surprise winner from that heat race. Think if you would have said Connor Parisi, Georgi Zadzon, that would have been a good call, maybe even Bobby Zelensky, but Bob King, that's a standout drive there.
In this second heat, Johan Harth along with the Scott Speed in second. Graham Quinn will start on the outside line. Jorn Jens and Nathan Lyon. Jorn Jens making his debut in the Rallycross World Championship. They'll be followed by Logan Clampett and Michael Guest for this Heat 2 grid. Waiting for the lights to illuminate. 5 laps of action. 1 joker available to the drivers, of course, as usual. And we go green for Heat number 2. Graham Quinn, slow on the outside line. Scott Speed, though, what a start from him. He's all unscathed there, heading across the start-finish line for the first time. Heads to the joker straight away, and as you said, Randy, you want to get that joker out of the way as quickly as possible.
Oh, there's a lot of bumping and banging trying to get to the apex, and Scott Speed ends up facing the wrong way, and that's going to be the end of his heat race, it looks like, from the lead. So 2 times the leader at the start of the heat race does not hardly make it through turn number 1, and who is going to cycle into the lead now? I believe it's going to be Johan Hart in the Ford Fiesta, with Nathan Lyon very close behind as they head through this long right-hander and off towards the hairpin.
Yeah, whoa, Nathan Lyon on 2 wheels there, heading through the corner. He's in the second position. Johan Hart, though, in first. So Johan Hart in that race clutch car having a good start here. Here we look at the RaceSpotTV side-by-side coverage. The replay of the start on the right-hand side of the screen. Let's have a look here once again. So Speed will come through to the joker. And so there we are. Now, he got a bit of contact here, Randy, didn't he? And then he clipped the tire barrier there, and that's what turned him around, the second bit of contact.
I think everyone had a little bit of contact going through that first 90-degree left, which is the way that's exactly why a lot of people aren't a huge fan of this track. Just the way that joker funnels down on the opening lap just stacks everyone up. But you're absolutely right. He just clipped his right rear right up against the wall, and that was really a straw that broke the camel's back there for that little spin. But regardless, we now have Johan Hart out in front of this field and leading in that Ford Fiesta from Team Race Clutch. The Nexus Esports is Nathan Lyon in second. Graham Quinn having a solid run in third with Jorn Jens and very close pursuit behind.
Oh, and Jens turns Quinn around, and Quinn now has to engage reverse
too close pursuit.
Yeah, well, now Graham Quinn's lost a couple of positions from that. Now, it didn't affect the top 2 positions. Those are the drivers heading to the feature round, but Quinn there loses that grid position heading to the Consolation races. Jorn Jens may get a talking to there as well from Graham Quinn afterwards. But right now, this will be lap 4 or 5 for Johan Hart as he begins. He's in that Ford Fiesta. There we look at Jorn Jens coming through the first corner. Once again, an interesting heat race here, Randy, because it's not the same drivers we had from round 1 heading to the feature.
Exactly. We have a couple drivers as well that weren't there at the first round. They're having very strong runs. For Jorn Jens to come out like this, to be in a different car from his teammate, the Ford Fiesta, which also seems to be sort of the least popular car. Most of the field, I think, is pretty much in the Volkswagens. It's the free car and has a very peculiar driving style compared to the Fiesta. But for Jorn Jens to be coming out and running third is very well. Logan Clampett showing some impressive pace as well as that Semi-Cubinex Volkswagen. Now harassing the back of that VRS Twin Sport driver, and Logan's going to take to the joker. Can he hop in front of that VRS Twin Ford Fiesta? No, he cannot.
He touched the wall as well, and there was a tire bollards on the apex which impeded his entry. Here's Logan Clampett, who was ever racing in round 1, wasn't he? Just cannot get past Jorn Jens here in this second heat race. But it's all about Johan Hart and Nathan Lyon at the moment. Those two will proceed to the feature round. Johan Hart with a brilliant victory for himself here in the heats. He won the heat last time at Daytona. He does the same here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Brilliant victory for Johan Hart. Lying in second, Jorn Jens. There he is on screen, edges ahead of Logan Clampett. And a brilliant race once again. There are the results on screen. Michael Guest and Graham Quinn. Graham Quinn turned around there. Will end up in the 6th position. Scott Speed with a DNF. Let's quickly look at the Heat 3 grid. And then we'll talk about the difficulties on the run down to that first corner. Mitchell de Jong. He is the man who will start on that front row alongside Geismer and Cheplevsky. Garrett Lowe, Julian Shine, and Repoussard are your 6-car field. So difficult running into turn 1 here, Randy, for the start.
Yeah, it is. It narrows up really fast. We got all 5 cars on the grid ready to go.
Yeah, there's Garrett Lowe. He's on that second row alongside Julian Shine. What can Julian Shine do? We want to see more out of him this round. Didn't get the best of round 1 starts. Green flag, though, for heat number 3, the final heat. De Jong speedy on that inside line. Cedric Geismer has the momentum. Bomb drafted by Stelian Cheplevsky. Here they go across the start-finish line for the first time, and de Jong will be able to take that joker lap and get it out of the way early on here. Into turn number 1 for the first time. Oh, not clean this time round. Cheplevsky and Geismer had a bit of contact. Cheplevsky is going to be demoted to 5th here at the start.
Now we can see Stillian working at his onboard cam. A little bit of contact once again. That sends Stillian off to the right. 3 wide nearly as they go up and over the jump, as Cheplevsky and Repoussard are going to stay side by side, and Cheplevsky's going to try to get it under Cedric, as they all are now going to funnel down into the hairpin. I'd be very surprised if all the cars end up facing the right way after this, and Cheplevsky's going to be the one facing the wrong way.
Yeah, so you can see on the onboard cam, Cheplevsky had all his work cut out in the steering wheel. He's now in last position for this heat. Oh, he was working that wheel to the max there on the first lap. It'll be Mitchell de Jong leading, though, ahead of Garrett Lowe. Cedric Geismer will be in 3rd after, well, he was 2nd there at the start, so only lost 1 position in the end. Repoussard 4th. Julian Shine and Stelian Cheplevsky, though. Cheplevsky in that Fusion Racing car, one of the popular teams in Rallycross, right now struggling here today with Cheplevsky.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not having a great opening first couple rounds, and definitely this heat race not the way he wanted to go, but maybe he can find a spot or 2 to pick up. Not sure. He's got Julian Shine out in front. Had a handful of damage. We're now going to switch over to his VR cam, running side by side, but hopefully he can make something of it, because I think we want to see more of that side-by-side VR cam here tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are. They're riding on board with Cheplevsky on the left-hand side. Garrett Lowe, though, he's in the 2nd position. He's very close here to Mitchell de Jong, and just keeping one eye on this, because I know that both of these drivers will make it through to the feature, but Mitchell de Jong right now looks extremely big. Garrett Lowe looks extremely quick, and he's staying within the clutches of Mitchell de Jong. But again, Randy, it's that start, and that's something we have to be careful of when it comes feature race time. Who's going to get a clean start? Because Mitchell de Jong's not always going to just have this victory locked and loaded if he has the pace.
Well, the thing is that with we haven't really talked about it, the variable banking in NASCAR's 3 and 4. We talked about it in race trim, but at the start, for those who are unaware, on an oval like this in North America, the bottom of the track is actually flatter than the top of the track, and the middle is sort of in between. It's got variable banking. You see a lot of ovals in the United States that use that, and they use it here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So because of that, it's not unheard of that the car on the outside line actually gets the preferred line through that long 180-degree left before it comes down the front straightaway for the first time, and that's why we get that funneling effect, and why so often that car on the far inside doesn't get a great run, because they have to turn a tighter corner and they have to do it on a flatter surface, and the banking just doesn't work with them. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the feature and in the C and B main, as these guys are going to be fighting hard to try to see who can transfer. There's a total of 4 spots left up for grabs.
Yep, exactly. Mitchell de Jong, though, you saw him on the main straight last time, etched closer and closer to the wall each lap round. Look at the dirt there. In work. De Jong once again. Oh, he's so close to the wall. I start clutching here in the commentary booth. Here he is, though. Crosses the line. He will win Heat 3. Again, a perfect round for Mitchell de Jong. Cedric Geismer will come home in 2nd. He advances to the feature race as well. Garrett Lowe in 2nd. Timing screen played up there. Cedric Geismer's in 3rd. Tony Reposad in the 4th position. Julian Shine and Chep Levski in the end finished 5th and 6th. Two drivers who desperately need some vital points this round coming. So now, Randy, we already head to that C main. We'll have a look at the grid. It will be Georgi Zadzon in the 1st position alongside Cedric Geismer, who will be able to race straight away. Logan Clampett will start on that front row on the outside line, followed by Zelensky, Shine, Guest, and Heikkinen. This might be the best C main grid of all time.
And to think 5 of these guys are not going to make this main. You got Logan, Bobby, Julian, Guest, Heikkinen. Those drivers are all worthy. Cedric and Georgi. All 7 of these guys should be in the feature, and none of them are currently.
Yeah, I'm loving this round as well. And I'm glad that we had an extra heat races to go with it. Turn number 1 will be difficult. Lights illuminate for the first Consolation round. And we go green again from Lucas Oil Raceway. Top 3, I'm not sure who's in the lead here. Looks like Logan Clampett on the outside line has the momentum. Will he be able to get to the low line and take that joker? He does. Heading into turn 1, what a start from Logan Clampett. They head into turn number 1. Other drivers joining the joker as well. Looks clean so far, and I think drivers have learnt their lesson. That's why they're all in this Consolation round. A lot of them were involved in incidents heading into that first corner.
That's about as picture perfect of a start as Logan Clampett could have ever hoped for. Cedric Geismer does a good job to funnel into second as well. Who's that? All sorts of sideways through that long right-hander. Michael Guest really hooning it through there. They all funnel back down for the hairpin. I think everyone's going to get through it clean for the first time. But Bobby Zelensky is going to hound the back of Cedric Geismer as they head down this front straightaway. Look for Bobby to hit the joker right here, right now, and he should be able to pick up this second spot. But he has to get this run absolutely perfect, side by side. Bit of contact, bit of margin, and they're going to stay side by side in towards this left-hander at turn 2, and Cedric Geismer is going to hold on to the spot.
Cedric Geismer, a privateer, the season contact. There, that's Julian Shine turned around. Exactly what he didn't need in round 2 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Oh, and he can't even get back on track. This is comical for Julian Shine. Again, he's going to...
Oh, big pile up in the hairpin. Joni Heikkinen just attempted a big move, and Georgi Zadzon and Michael Guest both got involved in it. I think Joni just didn't hit the brakes. Maybe some retaliatory action there, but a huge incident down at the hairpin.
So replay on screen. Oh, Heikkinen barged his way through. That's the frustration kicking in for Joni Heikkinen. He finds himself in 4th now after that with a slight bit of damage, but that Nexus Esports car of Michael Guest will not be happy with that at all. The same for Georgi Zadzon. Top 2 from this race, though, will head to the feature. It looks like Clampett and Geismer will get that done. Bobby Zelensky, though, is proving his case here. Oh, into the wall is Clampett. Clampett's touched the wall there on the exit of the hairpin. Will that allow Geismer a little bit of a run here on the main straight? Lap 4 of 5 begins.
Logan Clampett for World Championships this season. The story for him has been mistakes. It's been that in the NASCAR Pete Antifreeze iRacing Series. He should have a win, if not 2, but a couple intriguing strategy calls and just unfortunate luck hasn't gone his way. And most of this come from mistakes. And for Logan to be running it like this in a transfer spot right now, to make a mistake here and continue that trend would be disastrous. And Bobby Zelensky coming off a win at Sonoma in the Pete Antifreeze Series, he wants to get to the feature at least. He puts the pressure on Cedric Geismer to the hairpin, but Cedric's going to hold on to P2. Going to have 1 lap remaining here. Bobby's lost a lot of ground after that fight going through the hairpin. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make a move.
It's going to be, well, final lap here. There aren't many opportunities left for Bobby Zelensky. He needs a top 2 result to head to the feature round. He was turned around in the feature round at Daytona. Didn't claim the points that he needed. And here at Lucas Oil Raceway, it could be even worse for the American. Logan Clampett up ahead, only turned 18 just a month ago. And you can see these young men who are ever quick still make a little bit of mistakes there. Again, another mistake for Clampett. Although I think he'll still have the track position here. Hey, wait a second. Cedric Geismer is going to be alongside Clampett across the line. No, he turns him around though, but they cross the finish line and both of the top 2 will head to the feature. It is game over for Bobby Zelensky, Joni Heikkinen, Michael Guest, Georgi Zadzon, and Julian Shine. That is, I mean, there's tears through my eyes just saying all those names. It's the end of their event for round 2.
Cedric had spun Logan, that would have been probably one of the most interesting decisions ever, because Cedric had a transfer spot lined up. I'm sure Bobby Zielinski would have appreciated, though. But all that drama, and we still have another feature, we still have another last chance qualifier with a lot of big names in it.
Yeah, no, I think all 24 drivers qualify for this series are big. So Jon Jens, Pierre-Antoine Delaire, and Tony Repisard will head that front row, followed by Graham Quinn, Philip Diaz, Stelian Cheplevsky, and possibly Scott Speed, who will start from 7th. So, ready for this final consolation round. The top two once again will head to the feature. Green lights to illuminate. Jon Jens needs a good start here. We go green once again for the B main. And exactly that for Jon Jens. Brilliant start for him, although he runs very deep here, heading into that final corner at Lucas Oil Raceway. Now he has the lead, heading to the Joker. A gaggle of drivers. Almost a bit of contact for Pierre-Antoine Delaire heading into the Joker. Oh, huge calamity into turn 1, and there's a roadblock there. I don't know if anyone's made it through.
That's the whole B main. Stealing Chipolewski from last on the grid. He's going to cycle into the lead. Graham Quinn in second. Scott Speed disconnected after the disaster in his heat race. He should have stuck around. You never know what's going to happen, because he would have cycled into at least second or third.
Oh my goodness. I'd love to see an onboard of Cheplevsky surely smirking at this stage. He's in first place, going to advance, possibly, if he keeps it together, obviously, for the rest of this event. There he is. That's a big, wide, teeth-open smile. No, it's not. I hope it was. He's wide and he's focused, heads to the Joker for the first time. Graham Quinn finds himself in second, and it's Diaz, Jens, Repisard, and Anton Delaire. That's one of the best, most dramatic starts I've ever seen in this series, obviously.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you're going to see Stelian Cheplevsky and Graham Quinn pretty much just cruise around. We're going to get a replay of that at some point, but my, oh my, your top two, they have, I mean, it's a 2-second gap between Stelian and Graham Quinn, then it's a further 9 seconds back pretty much for the 9-car of Phil Diaz. Your top two, Johnny, it's going to be pretty much a 5-lap just pacing situation here, because those two are not going to push too hard, having a transfer spot locked up like that. That's the biggest disaster of a start I've seen in Rallycross across 2 seasons, the Dirt Night, and then now this round of the World Championship. That was a cluster.
Yeah, look at the replay here. Slow motion image of Jon Jens and one of the Fusion cars. Oh, Jon Jens was turned around. I think that was by Pierre-Antoine Delaire. Oh, no, excuse me. Delaire was on the outside. Yeah, excuse me. It was Graham Quinn who turned him around. And Delaire was a sitting duck on the outside. And car turned over was Pierre-Antoine Delaire there. Could do nothing about that. He's out of this event, along with Scott Speed, who didn't start the event. Tony Repisard's also out of the event. Jon Jens is out of the event. It's a 3-car field. And it looks like Philip Diaz has no chance of battling with the top two. So a couple of laps to go here. I have to say, Randy, you need a bit of luck in life. And Stelian Cheplevsky's had exactly that.
Yeah, that's about as technical as the analysis gets for that. You know, I was going to say it was going to be fun watching Stelian try to roll through the field from as deep on the grid as he was, but I wasn't expecting him to get up to the front that quickly. And at the end of the day, all you can really say in terms of analytics at after a start like that to a race is rip.
Yeah, unfortunately, but Cheplevsky, the 41-year-old Bulgarian, he currently lives in the UK. And as we spoke about in round 1, he does so much for the Rallycross World Championship. We'll look at a replay here of a mistake from Graham Quinn. Oh, he goes extremely wide. Just lost concentration there.
He lost him a transfer spot. It lost him a transfer spot.
Yeah. So Phil Diaz now into second. You're right there. So something's gone wrong for Graham Quinn. I don't know if that was a technical issue. That was very weird.
That's absolutely disaster right there for Graham Quinn to have a transfer spot pretty much locked up, and either a technical issue or a mistake. It's now going to be Phil Diaz who lucks his way into the feature in a race that's been nothing but luck for Stelian Cheplevsky as well.
So here they go to cross the line. Cheplevsky advances to the feature. He'll be joined by Phil Diaz incredibly there. We thought this race was over, but an unforced error by Graham Quinn will mean he is out of the event for round 2 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. 2-minute warm-up coming up. There are the results on screen for that. For the B main there. There were 4 DNFs for that B main, Randy. But here we go. 2-minute warm-up. Let's catch our breath for a second and talk about how this track, heading into turn 1 for this feature, this could possibly decide the race here on this first lap.
It could, especially with, I mean, what an interesting qualifying group. Bob King is the surprise of the day for sure, starting on the outside of that, or excuse me, the inside of that front row. We know that's generally not where you want to be. Johan Hart starting in the middle. He could have something going, and Mitchell de Jong on the outside. The Subaru hasn't seemed overly fast. We've seen that from Mitchell, and when he not qualifying super great, and then when he had Garrett Lowe in his heat race, that was pretty much matching him for pace, which is something we've never seen before. Going to be an interesting start down into turn 1, and then you have some quick names in the back of the field, the likes of Connor Parisi starting in the mid-pack. Stilian Chipolewski, I think in particular, starting 9th. He's going to be very aggressive in towards turn 1 because that's his best opportunity to pick up a lot of spots. And you know what? After what Stilian just did, I'd probably just send it down the inside as well.
So, of course, for this feature race, we will look out for that outside line of Mitchell de Jong, who he starts from 3rd. He's on the front row. Ever important for him to get a quick jump here. But of course, Bob King and Johan Hart are no strangers to great starts. That's why they find themselves in 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Bob King is going to be interesting to see what he can do. Because I don't think we ever saw Bob King run these Rallycross cars on dirt night. We see him in the sprint cars occasionally, but we've never seen him in the Rallycross stuff. So for him to be starting on pole of a World Championship feature event here, just the 2nd round, is mighty impressive from him. And if he can hold on to that and even just come away with a 2nd, 3rd, as long as he can get through turn 1 clean, he's in for a mighty result tonight.
So here we are now, heading to the feature race for round 2 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series from Lucas Oil Raceway. Your grid will be up on screen right about now. And it will be Bob King starting on that front row on the inside line alongside Johan Hart in that race clutch car, the VRS Coanda SimSport Subaru, and Mitchell de Jong in 3rd, followed by Fusion Racing's Connor Parise. Lion in that Nexus Esports car will be 5th, and it's Lowe, Clampett, Geismer, Cheplevsky, and Phil Diaz to round out your 10-car field. 10 laps of action, 1 joker for the drivers, of course, as usual. The most points on offer. We will crown a winner and a podium that follows closely behind at the end of these 10 laps. Will Mitchell de Jong clean sweep these first 2 rounds and take victory? Johan Hart needs a victory here. Bob King, can he be a surprise victor? Engines rev, lights illuminate for the final time. And we go green from Lucas Oil Raceway. Bob King, slow start, but Johan Hart in the middle line is trying to search for the down line right there. Almost taps Mitchell de Jong. Mitchell de Jong with a blistering getaway, and he heads to the joker on the first lap. The Nexus Esports car there of Nathan Lyon there. Yep, he's in 3rd position, so doesn't take to the joker, and a bit of contact behind for the rest of the field, but relatively clean so far.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the cleanest starts we see, but there's a bit of a pile-up in the back. I think Phil Diaz is around. Stilian Chipolewski may have been involved as well, but just a little bit of a spin. No big issues. I don't think anyone's going to be out. But Mitchell de Jong, a bit of contact from Johan Hart in towards the hairpin, and race clutch is going to take the lead. Mitchell's going to have to win this one the hard way now.
So Johan Hart being aggressive, bumping and rubbing, exactly what he needed to do to claim victory. Here he is at the hairpin. Bumps him out of the way and takes 1st place. So simple move there for Johan Hart, and now Mitchell de Jong might give him the same, well, pretty much the same punch in return here possibly. So Johan Hart needs to be careful. He has a 0.6 of a second buffer. Garrett Lowe has been spun around as well, heading into the jump. There he is on screen in that Fusion Racing car. And the American, we'll have a look at the replay for him. So here he is now. Oh, a tap there. And then that was Cedric Geismer in the white privateer Volkswagen who got in the way. But here we go, Randy. Good start for Johan and de Jong. They look like they're unscathed in P1 and P2.
pretty much are, and I think that was a perfect sort of a bump and run there from Johan Hart. He didn't send Mitchell. He gave him a tap, and he got him loose, as Johan, I think, made a mistake trying to make a run towards the jump. So he's just given up, I think, about half of his buffers. There's a couple of cars hitting that. A tire baller that's been knocked into the way here, but it's going to be interesting to see. Does Mitchell get back physical with Johan Hart down in towards the hairpin? Going to tightly get to that hairpin. I thought Mitchell was going to make a little bit of contact there, but angled it just off nice perfectly. But that's pretty much what you need to be doing here. What do you see?
And sorry, Bob King turned around on the hairpin. Other drivers had to skip the corner as well. Oh, Bob King, who started this race in first, is now in dead plumb last at the moment, and he's already taken to the Joker. Here's the replay on screen. Bollard got in the way, destroyed a bit of vision. Rest of the field followed behind. So straightforward incident there, but here we look at Johan Hart on board. Oh, this is getting closer and closer, isn't it? We head to 50% of the distance for this feature round. But Mitchell de Jong, he looks like, I'm not sure if he's getting closer or not. I think he has to count on a few Johan Hart mistakes here to claim victory.
He does. It's gonna come through some luck for sure, as Stilian Chiplewski is battling with his teammate of Connor Parisi through the kind of the midpoint of the lap here, but there's been a couple mistakes for Johan Hart in this first 4 or 5 laps of this race, because that gap was out to about 9/10 of a second. So right now Mitchell is very pacey, especially in that part of the lap, and he's going to pull up alongside as they go side by side over the jumps for the race lead. Mitchell down the inside. Can Johan roll this around the outside? Mitchell's going to have good traction on the inside though, and he's going to retake the race lead. And contact again between Hart and Mitchell.
But this time Hart cannot barge his way into P1. De Jong still in the first position. Oh, they're wrestling for that victory here for round 2. Both have taken to the Joker. They don't need to use it any more times this race. De Jong continues heading into the first couple of corners here. This is where we had the move done. Heading into the jump, Hart was sideways for most of the lap. Makes a mistake there and touches the bollard. He's lost another half a second. Oh, Johan Hart had victory, had one hand of the trophy, and just couldn't sustain the pace here.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Johan. I think he probably did a couple mistakes, maybe even got a little bit aggressive over one of the jumps and got a little bit of damage on that car, because he's lost a lot of pace, especially considering Mitchell was not the fastest of the day here when it came to qualifying pace. Now the question is, can Johan find some speed late in this race to reel in that number 24 VRS Coincident Sport car? Or is it just going to be Mitchell cruising away to the end of what has been an amazing feature here in the second round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship?
So Hart, the young Frenchman, only 19 years of age. They call him the Rolling Turtle. That's quite ironic of a nickname. He heads through the hairpin yet again here, lap 7 of 10. They'll begin lap 8 shortly. I love this event though, Randy, from Nathan Lyon. Finished 4th last time at Daytona in the feature round. Now he's got a podium to his name. His teammate Michael Guest not here today. Nathan Lyon takes to the Joker for the first time, and he gets that out of the way, although he misses the first corner by quite a huge margin.
Yeah, unfortunate, but he's really not going to be able to reel those guys in out in front of him. They're running about a tenth or so quicker than him every single lap. Apparently, Stilian Chiplewski and Phil Diaz had a bit of contact in towards turn 1. They're both still out and rolling and still running in that order. So guys are getting aggressive in this mid-pack as well. But doing what Nathan Lyon is doing is how you're going to get a good result in this championship, because most of these guys, they don't have the pace of the Mitchell de Jongs of the world. So it's going to be difficult getting wins. But when you get the opportunity to take a win like Johan Hart did, you have to be able to execute on that. And not only that, you have to consistently be able to run 3rd, 4th, 5th in this championship in order to pull off, I think, a good points result over the course of this season. Through the first 2 rounds, Nathan Lyon and Mitchell, they seem like the most consistent of the lot.
Yeah. So there we ride on board with Chiplewski. He's a great advocate for virtual reality. He's working that wheel to the max. He loves sim racing, Stelian Chiplewski. Brilliant hobby of his. Heads through the jump. Boy, that would be a thrill in virtual reality. So final lap for Mitchell de Jong as he crosses the line. And he's got that lead 1.666 seconds the last time I checked. Now, if you're part of the Illuminati, you may want to look away if you're not. So Johan Hart in 2nd, Nathan Lyon in 3rd. Those 3 will claim your podium if they can keep it together for these final few corners. I like this event from Logan Clampett in fourth. He's had a good race, but all eyes are on that man up ahead in the Subaru, Mitchell de Jong. Heads through the final corner for the final time here. He will be victor for round 2 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series from Lucas Oil Raceway. Another victory for Mitchell de Jong, and 2 for 2 to start the season here. Look at this final battle. We're still racing here with, that's the driver of Cheplevsky there on the final lap, I believe. And Phil Diaz was close as well. So Phil Diaz there, we see, finished the race in 6th, but brilliant victory, Randy, for this man, Mitchell de Jong, who is loving it. Thrilling first couple of rounds for him, and what a way to start off your Rallycross career in esports.
Especially for Mitchell, because all the times we've seen him on the Rallycross side between Dirt Night and the season opener a week ago, we've always seen Mitchell just get out in front and dominate. We never really saw Mitchell have to come from behind, and for him to only qualify 3rd, win his heat, start 3rd, and then get sent to 2nd by Johan and be able to muscle a move and make a pass, that shows the quality of driver we're dealing with here. It's not just someone who's really quick and can just get out in front and hot lap to take victory. He can get physical and he can make moves when he needs to, and that's what makes that 24 car so dominant in this form of racing.
And Johan Hart will be 2nd in the championship at the end of this, followed by Nathan Lyon. That your top 3 in the championship are actually there right on screen. De Jong, Hart, and Lyon finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in this race as well. De Jong had his work cut out for him today, didn't qualify on 1st, and didn't have the lead for half of that feature race. Clampett and Paris ended up in 4th and 5th. Great recovery for both those drivers after a dramatic first round at Daytona. Phil Diaz barged his way past Stelian Cheplevsky there, we saw on the main straight, and he claimed 6th ahead of Cheppy. In 7th, Cedric Geismer, you can see a privateer. The Frenchman came home in 8th. Garrett Lowe for Fusion Racing in 9th. And Bob King for Synergy Sim Racing started that feature race from 1st, and ironically came home in last position, the Australian, and didn't end up finishing that event. So there we go, Randy. Brilliant event. We'll have interviews post-race coming up in just a moment's time, but I have to speak about the top 3 in the championship there. It will be de Jong, Hart, and Lyon, if I'm not mistaken, once the points are updated. I have to say, as much as Johan Hart is quick, I am very impressed from Nathan Lyon. You know, he's been solid, he's consistent, 3rd in the championship to start this first inaugural 2018 Rallycross Series.
We've seen good pace from Nathan in the Dirt Night broadcasts in the past. When Mitchell was racing in that opening season, he was the only driver to actually upset Mitchell in any of the heats. I believe it was at Daytona. Nathan Lyon managed to take a heat race win, and because of that, Mitchell had to start 3rd in that as opposed to starting on pole like he did the entire rest of his career there. So for Nathan, he's shown good talent in the last 6 months of this content, and he's showing a lot of speed and that same speed, that same consistency in this World Championship as well. And he could be in for a fantastic season.
So we're going to speak to your victor again. 2 in a row for the American Mitchell de Jong, real-life Rallycross driver, proving his worth in the esports world as well. I have to say, Mitchell, that wasn't as unscathed a feature round like it was at Daytona. Talk about your race. We're seeing it on screen now. Johan Hart really, well, he made you work for that, didn't he, with a bit of contact as well?
Oh, man, that was quite a crazy one, even from qualifying. I anticipated the Subaru was going to be a bit worse with the worn track, but I thought we would have a bit of an advantage in qualifying because it shouldn't be so worn in. But the issue is the racing line is so narrow here that even in qualifying, after just the practice runs, like, we're having quite a bit of grip, like one line things, and just couldn't keep the rear of the car inside the line. So kind of on the back foot right from the get-go. But you know, we made it work. I'm really happy with the way the heat works. Obviously, the starting on the inside is super difficult. Always kind of 50-50 if you make it out in front, and then that worked out in the heat race, and it's again kind of the same for the very far outside, but you have such a good run that kind of really worked out there. But yeah, super happy. Got a few taps from Johan, so I got set back a bit. And I'm really happy it worked out in the end.
I have to say there, we saw the contact between yourself and Johan Harth. Is there anything you can do to improve your pace for next round at Sonoma, or is it just the Subaru that got in the way this round and you could have been quicker in maybe the Volkswagen or the Fiesta?
I think another car was probably the preferred one here, either the VW or the Ford. For the fact that it's really good when the track is fresh, but it's always a bit of an unknown when the track gets worn in. Obviously, this is the track that I would think suits a bit more, but guessing the track conditions like this, you just can't really do that till the actual race. So you play a bit of a guessing game, and I think I got it a bit wrong this time. So just test a bit more for next time, and great choice. So all wasn't so bad.
And final time, give your thank yous out to the team and your family and all the people that contributed to this one victory here today.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, for one, my teammates for supporting me for this, and it's tough for the Europeans for this with the time zone. But it was nice to have Jorn back racing again. Unfortunately for him in the Consolation that happened to him, but. It was nice to have a teammate again for this, and yeah, all our partners, Virtual Racing School, Huizinfeld, and We're Design, SimQuip, Tech, Real Timing, and of course, you guys for broadcasting this for us.
No problem. There you go, everybody. Mitchell de Jong, your victor to start off this Rallycross campaign, 2 in a row for himself in the World Championship. Randy, you're going to be speaking to the driver of Nathan Lyon, no Johan Harth here today. I have to say one thing, Randy, is that Mitchell de Jong, ever so dominant, but this man, Nathan Lyon, here you're about to speak to, has been one of the most consistent starts we've seen to a World Championship, any form of motorsport.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Nathan, how are you feeling about that to finish so strongly in the first opening couple rounds? We saw you be very consistent in the Dirt Night stuff in the past. And what's your approach that helps you be so consistent in that Nexus Esports number 47?
Just show up early in practice, get some laps in. Those practice sessions where the track's worn out from everyone racing in it, it's really good practice because then you know what to do in the feature races, you know where the grip's at. So you're able to use that to your advantage.
And I'm talking about that when, Mitchell was talking about the track getting worn in. What really changes? We're used to seeing the dirt oval stuff where a track gets worn in and it just gets really, really slippery after cars run on it lap after lap after lap. How does the racing lines change, and how does the car's behavior change as that track gets more and more worn in?
The car gets really slick on entry. It'll just kick out, so you have to hold the wheel really straight and make sure it doesn't kick out. And then it gets really tight through the dirt sections because the lack of dirt and the more concrete just makes the car want to go straight. So you got to use a lot of wheel in order to make the car turn.
Sonoma in a few weeks' time, how your luck feeling there? Of course, most of the tracks we have are pretty much infield road courses on an oval. That really being a proper kind of standalone road course. A lot of elevation change. How do you like it compared to the rest of the tracks we have?
It's awesome. It uses a lot more dirt, I think, too. It's a bigger track, so it's definitely more of an approach to it, a lot more wider corners, especially that first or second or third turn where it's at that long dirt. It's really hard to get that right. You really got to make sure you hit your apex each and every time. But it's a really fun track. You have a lot of passing opportunities, so it's really good racing.
Congratulations, Nathan, to you for starting the season out so well. Before we let you go, who gets it done for you over at Nexus Esports?
Justin Rowden at Rowden Graphics for painting the awesome car. Bobby and Clampin and Guess for always running laps and testing together. That's it.
There he is, Nathan Lyon, coming home with a strong third-place finish, and I think someone were a little bit surprised to maybe see this far up the order. Johnny, you're stood by with Mr. Clamp Nation himself.
Yeah, exactly. So brilliant result from Nathan Lyon there. I have to say, Logan Clampett, though, coming up next, who we're about to speak to, needed these points and needed this round right now. We're about to speak to him right now. He's ready to go. Logan Clampett, came home in fourth in that INX racing car. Can I just say quickly, this was a less dramatic round for you than Daytona. How did it feel to be out of a little less drama this time around?
It felt pretty good. I got pretty lucky during the B main, so that was cool with our starting spot there. So I didn't have to move anyone or anything, but I tried to be as clean as possible throughout the whole thing. There were a couple incidents where I just couldn't really do much. Like, I think it was lap 3. I think Connor got into the tires and I just couldn't do anything. Or when I jokered, I don't know. It was pretty close. But like I said, I try to be as clean as possible so I don't get a bunch of crap for what I do and stuff. So I'm happy that I came away with P4 and P1 in the B main.
Is qualifying an improvement you want to make? You didn't qualify too well today, and that's putting it nicely just for you.
Yeah, well, I actually see the benefit of like qualifying bad. Like, I don't know, if for some reason you're just behind everyone, and if they all mess up, then you can just go right by. But yeah, I messed up qualifying. I probably could have hit like a 0.0 or a 0.9 or something, but instead I hit a 0.3. But it still would have been about mid-pack to back of the pack, so it didn't really matter. But I don't know, I'm not the greatest at qualifying. Messed up my lap 1, and I was doing better on my lap 3, and then messed it up in the hairpin and lost like 4/10 or something. But it's whatever.
And final thing, Sonoma in a few weeks' time. Surely around, you want to do well at, but around that, will it go well for you in terms of car choice and the Volkswagen? How's INX going to be preparing for that round? Any challenges you think that may impede your progress there at Sonoma?
Hitting the line right is very important in the long dirt section. So
Yeah.
which I'm not the greatest at there. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably have to have a little bit of luck there, but I don't know. We'll see what we got.
There you go. And finally, any thank yous to the team and anybody else as well you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Granite Devices, SimuCube for being on the car, and then SimLab V Racing for being our sponsors over at NX Racing. And then also thank you to Nathan Lyon on Nexus Esports. He builds all these setups for us NASCAR guys. Us NASCAR guys are kind of just working together, like me, Guest, Phil, Bobby, Nathan. So he's helping us all out, and we're trying to beat all these road course guys and stuff. So he's a huge help. So that's cool. And then obviously you guys for broadcasting this, and iRacing for putting on this series.
Thank you, Logan Clampett, who came home in the 4th position. A much better round for him this time out at Lucas Oil Raceway. Randy, we head to Sonoma in a few weeks' time. I have to say quickly, not only one of my favorite tracks in Rallycross, but maybe one of the most popular tracks on the iRacing service for the Rallycross series.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, Sonoma's been pretty busy the last couple weeks, and we just saw the Peak Canyon Freeze iRacing Series put on their race there, which may have been one of the best races of the season. That Peak Sonoma race is on another level, and that Rallycross track, it gives it some very, very good racing. It's very raceable. There's a lot of dirt, as we've talked about, and there's a lot of elevation and undulation changes.
Yeah, that's true as well. You never know. You always have to can't give up until whoever sings. Anyway, there are the standings there up on screen. We're going to wrap up here from the RaceSpotTV commentary booth. This was round 2 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series from Lucas Oil Raceway. The next event will have back-to-back rounds for round 3 and 4, but that next one will be on the 19th of July. That's in 3 weeks' time until we head to Sonoma Raceway. We're just talking about the most beautiful Sonoma Raceway. That will host round 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Coverage will begin at 1 a.m. GMT. That will be 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, of course, or 11 a.m. in Australia or the south of the world. That, of course, will be on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Thanks to all you lovely viewers for joining us for today's broadcast. All your contributors were there up on screen. Istvan Balor for cameras, Andreas Werner, Simon Grossman, Nick Thiessen. I'm Jonathan Simon. Thanks to Hugo Luis in production, Randolph Cheneth alongside me, and Cam Walsh on social media. This has been a RaceSpotTV presentation broadcasted on iRacing Live. We say so long from Lucas Oil Raceway.